All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's 500 Qualifiers call with our amazing guest speaker, Get 2.5 member, Sophie Guyonnet, calling in from Perth. So it's 11 a.m. Sophie's time. She's super duper busy, I know, running her business. So we totally appreciate you taking the time out today, Sophie, to teach our group, and share with our group about how you built an amazing business and hear a bit about your story. So guys, first of all, I just want to congratulate everybody before I introduce Sophie to take over. Oops, where did that slide go? I can't find that slide. But anyway, I just want to congratulate everybody for qualifying for today's call. I know it's also during the day and a lot of people are working, so they're actually listening into the recording. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Can't wait to hear everybody's feedback. Guys, what I'm going to do is just hand it straight over to Sophie because, I really want to use the time for her to share her story and share her journey and share her tips. So Sophie, are you there?
I am. Hello.
Amazing. We're so excited. I'm just going to hand it straight over to you and take it away.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's always such an honor to be asked to share, for someone else's team. So it's not something I take lightly. So thank you for having me and hope everyone's having an amazing week in December. So apologies, my little one, Maximus, is awake. Still, he should be asleep, but he's not. So if you hear like weird cartoons in the background, that's him on his iPad behind me. So he might even join in a bit later, but for now he's just chilling. So let's get straight into it. So that's my product result. Since getting on my nutrition program, I've lost 24 kilos. I don't have a lot of photos of me looking like I did on the left because, like I'd always been in shape. And it wasn't until I had quite a bad injury that I literally couldn't walk or exercise. And then my diet and nutrition, I kept doing the same thing. And that's when it caught up with me. And I knew that it was temporary, but I just didn't know how I was going to change my habits or just get the results that I needed to get because I tried a few things. Actually, I tried a lot of things. And mostly I look back and I think how silly of me that I even thought that something like that would work. But I feel like I just did everything because I was so desperate to get back to my shape and nothing was working. And I hit the weight quite well. People say like, oh, where did 24 kilos come from? I'm like, trust me, it was there. But as a result of that, like my energy, my digestion, my stamina, my mental alertness, my confidence, my levels of niceness, everything really dipped because I just wasn't feeling myself. Like I think when you have high standards for yourself and, you're a driven, motivated person and those standards drop, like it really kills your confidence. And yeah, I just knew that I had to do something. And this gentleman walked into my work and he asked my boss if he could come in and do wellness scans, wellness evaluations for the office to improve everyone's productivity. And I worked in advertising at the time and my boss, of course, was like, yeah, get them to work even harder. So he came in the next day and about 5 of us got on the products. And as a result, I jumped on what was the ultimate back then. And this was almost 10 years ago. And am I still there?
Yes, we lost you for a little bit. Now you're back.
That's okay. No problem, right? Everything's no problem today with all the tech stuff. And yeah, so I lost 14 kilos in a very not gold standard time. And straight away, I was like, oh my God, my energy, everything started improving. And yeah, that was almost 10 years ago. So I just love the products. Like I feel like I'm getting better with age. I'm almost 32 and now a mum, and I'm in even better shape than when I was in my early 20s. And I love the skincare range. I kind of feel like the skincare doesn't get enough street cred, but I love the skincare. Like I'll bump into people and that I haven't seen for a while, and they're like, wow, have you had work done? I'm like, no, it's just the inner nutrition and the skincare. Like I feel the best that I've ever felt, And yeah, like I used the products through my pregnancy, through breastfeeding, all of that. I just used it differently. And then I love the sports range because I love defying, I guess, expectations. You know, like, I don't know what it's like wherever you guys are, but here in WA, like, the thing is that you have kids and you kind of turn into this, like, you know, this hobbit or this like bit of a slob, you know, like you totally throw yourself out the window and just stop caring for yourself because you're all about the kids, you know, like that's kind of what the expectations are over here. And I just love that when I bump into people and they're like, oh, but you wouldn't know about that, you don't have kids. I'm like, yeah, I've got a son. And they're like, what? You know, because everyone just looks so gross all the time. And I'm like, you know, it's totally cool to be a mum and to still look amazing and feel amazing and actually put some love and attention and care into yourself. You know, like I feel like Herbalife and motherhood, they're probably very similar, but you know, I really feel like, you know, when you get on a plane and they do the emergency evacuation procedure thing, you know, and they say, in case of emergency, put the oxygen on yourself first before you help anyone else. And now as a mom, I'm like, no, you have to help the children, like help the little ones. But it's so true. Like if you don't put the oxygen back on you first, if you don't put that love and the care and the attention into you first, then whatever you give out to everyone else is going to be like half, if not less, of whatever you have left in your tank, you know? So it's so important, I think, to look after yourself and not feel like you're being selfish at all. Like you deserve the best nutrition and a happy mind and to have that lifestyle that you dream of. And it's really up to you. And, you know, like I was always such a hard worker, you know, a very driven person. I always had multiple jobs because I understood very early on that I was never going to be satisfied with one income. So I always worked in retail and I did a lot of promotional work. And, you know, obviously I got a lot of paid dancing work when I was still dancing. And, you know, I was always a really busy person. I had a great income, but essentially no time and no lifestyle really, because you don't really get to enjoy the fruits of your labor if you're always at work. And, you know, I just didn't realize that there was a vehicle like Herbalife that could give me pretty much everything that I wanted, you know, like literally everything. And, you know, I didn't think I was going to be a mum because I have a lot of issues with my ovaries. And so I was told that I probably wouldn't be able to have kids naturally and that sort of thing. So in my head, I started telling myself, like, maybe in this lifetime, I'm just supposed to be a really kick-ass auntie, you know, like I'm cool with that. And then I met Marco and everything happened really quickly. Like, as you know, when something's right, it just flows really well. So Marco and I were only together for about 9 months. And then we realized that we were pregnant. And that was totally like, it just blew us away because we weren't trying and we just didn't think that it could happen naturally, sort of thing. And that for me was like a really defining moment in my Herbalife career, because up until then I was a very casual supervisor. You know, I was happy making that extra $1,000 per month lifestyle income. And as soon as I realized I was pregnant, it was just an instant switch to me in my head. I was like, all right, let's go. Like, I'm going to do Herbalife. Everyone was like, oh my God, you're pregnant. What are you going to do? And I just would respond, Herbalife. I'm going to do Herbalife. Like, what else would I do? Like, I don't want to come back to work. You know, I'm working 70 hours a week at the moment. I can't keep doing that once I have a son. You know, we don't really have the family support here that I can rely on someone to come and babysit or, you know, for the whole day for me to be at work. And personally, I didn't want Maximus to be in daycare full time. You know, I wanted to be that really present mum. Oh, I've just turned around. He's fallen asleep on the floor. I feel so bad. I'll have to take a photo and show you guys after. So that was it for me. That was really the decision, because I just wanted to be able to be at home, be a mum, and still maintain having a lifestyle and still maintain contributing to my household and to my family. So at the time I was world team, like, you know, I'd qualified as world team. And it's funny that the universe lines up. Like, I didn't know the direction my life was going in. It's like the universe knew way before I did, because I'd upgraded my car, I bought a block of land, and then all in the space of a month, I found that I did all these things. And, you know, people tried to talk me out of building my house. They were like, how can you build a house? You're going to have a kid, you know, how can you pay for your car? How can you have this new house? How? Like, people just didn't understand. And I was like, it's cool. Like, I've got this. Like, I've got this vehicle that I know if it is to be, it's up to me. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be able to be okay and not need to rely on someone else for an income. So I just got to work really, and I had a really weird, rough pregnancy. I vomited like all day long, all night, constantly until I was 36 weeks. So that was no problem. Water-based shakes were a lifesaver. And, I just did, sorry, let me turn off the iPad. There we go. I just did whatever I could. I looked at other people and I could see that they had more time and more flexibility with their time. And honestly, guys, the biggest advice I can give you is don't compare yourself to anybody else, because this journey is yours. It's a journey of self-discovery. It's a journey of fulfillment. And if you're constantly comparing yourself to everyone else, then you're never really going to get that complete satisfaction, because you're always like, but that person, so I knew that I was still working my jobs and I was building a house and I was under the pump, but I just thought, okay, I can attend the major events. I can do that. I can enroll myself in the Supervisor Academy. Okay, that's one night a week. And I told myself, and I told Joanna, who's obviously my sponsor, I said, I'm going to do one shake party or one business launch per week. That's my thing. And I said, don't expect me to do more, because I'm overwhelmed. So that's all I can manage. And I'm going to do those things really well. So every week I did a shake party, not for my own COI or my own friends. I did it for my clients who were getting really great results and people that had expressed their interest in creating an income. So I was like, great, let's do a party. And literally I just did a party every single week. And now looking back, I didn't really realize that I was going in there and recruiting everyone, because it didn't even feel like I was doing anything. It was just so much fun. But because I didn't have the time to waste, when I got to this party, everyone got on the products or everyone got signed up. And again, because I didn't have heaps of time to be mentoring people one-on-one, I just plugged them back into the system. I said, great, there's 500, we had a 500 club as well in our organization. So I said, jump on 500 club now that you've qualified, or you've got the STS, or now you're a supervisor, come to Academy with me. And so that's really what built my momentum. So I qualified as World Team in June 2013, and then I was dead set that by that spectacular, I was going to be Get Team. So I did my active World Team in September, and then I went straight into my cuts of Get. So I did October, November, December, qualified as Global Expansion Team to get pinned by David Solomon on stage. And if you're friends with me on Facebook, I actually saw the video of David Solomon pinning me, because it was like a personal joke with a few of the other tab team, because I actually thought he was going to put the pin on my dress. And so I did this huge hair flick. I was like, here is my breast, here's my chest, pin me, David. And then he just literally handed the pin to me, and it was just this really awkward anticlimax. I felt like the biggest tool. I was like, oh, yeah, great, thanks. And so Michael Saliba took photos and then did a voiceover of the whole thing. So if you're friends with me, then have a look, because it's probably floating around on your newsfeed somewhere. But that's essentially how I went Get Team, and I just was having so much fun, showing people the big picture, just pitching them big. I was making around $3,000, $4,000 at the time. But how Jim Rohn says, work full time, but then work part time on your fortune. So my story was quite powerful, because, I was saying I'm making around $4,000 a month in something that I do very, very casually. And for a lot of people, that's like a full-time income. So they're like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, yeah, I do a couple nights a week, or we have a party, and once a month we go to the city and we have this big thing, and that's it. And people literally couldn't believe it. And that's, that was my story. And then people were like, oh, so what are you going to do after you have your baby? I was like, well, I'm definitely not coming back to work. I'm building up my business so that I have, a royalty income to sustain me while I'm having building my family. And they're like, what? So, multi-level marketing for a lot of people is totally foreign. It will literally blow their mind. They just don't understand how you can get paid on your value versus what everyone knows, which is getting paid for your time. So be patient with people, because they only know what they know. But the best thing, I think, in terms of time management, in terms of vision and hope and dreams, is just to get people in the room. I just really focus on that. I don't do anything special. People ask me all the time, what do you do? What are your DMOs, daily methods of operation? I'm like, to be honest, I just invite people. I just invite them to something, so that's another key thing. You have to be doing something in order to invite. you know, if you're not attending a local home, or if you're not using an online system, or if you're not doing regular parties, then you can talk to people all you want, but the point of the conversation is essentially to invite them to see something bigger than just you. So that's all I do, really. You know, just invite people to the STS, or invite them to a party, or, you know, whatever it is. But, you know, like, I love that, you know, I feel like I'm a totally different person to when I went Get Team to now. And, you know, like, I was reflecting as I was getting ready for this webinar that this time 3 years ago, we were going for Global Expansion Team. And I'm like, been on the Get Team for 3 years, but I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Like, I'm such a different person. I've learned so many lessons. I've made so many incredible friendships. I've phased out so many toxic people out of my life that I was just keeping, like, you know, they were just there because I felt bad. But now, because I'm a strong enough person to cut people like that off that are just not good for me, you know, like, I just look at, and I'm like, I'm so grateful for Get Team, because there's always a pin that is your learning pin. So if maybe you've been on the same pin for a little while, or you're not a supervisor yet, and you're like, when's it going to happen? Like, it's cool. It's going to happen, you know, like, and you're where you are. Nothing is by accident. You know, everything is by design. You're here right now for a reason. Like, you're on this webinar right now for a reason. Like, there's a purpose to you listening, because there's obviously a message that's going to come to you. But, you know, you have to be in the environment to receive the message. You have to be open and ready to receive whatever it is you need to get you to that next level. So, you know, but I look forward to getting the green pin in the new year, because the green pin for us means that Marco can resign from his full-time job if he would like to. So Marco, my other half, is you can go to another slide if you want, darling. Marco is a full-time engineer, so he is responsible for building the new Perth Stadium that's happening. So on the left-hand side there, that's me at the Adelaide Spectacular 2014, and I'm pregnant, in case you're wondering, like, why I look a bit different. So that's me pregnant and trying not to vomit. And then obviously there on the right-hand side, that was the following extravaganza in Singapore. So I pretty much had Maximus on me like that the whole time. Even at the event, he just slept and had little baby earmuffs. And probably around about that time is when Marco started joining me in the business, because, you know, I guess when you don't have kids, or if you're single, you're quite happy to just, like, do the grind, you know, like the 9 to 5 and live for the weekend and that sort of thing. But, you know, our priorities totally shifted, obviously, when I became pregnant and when we had Maximus. So I think at that point, time became more valuable to him, and he realized that he didn't want to be away from Maximus as much as he was, because, you know, there are times where Marco won't see Maximus awake for like 3 or 4 days, because he gets up at 4 a.m. to get to work or go to the gym, and then he gets home at about 7, and, you know, usually Maximus is asleep like before those times. So, you know, and then I remember very clearly one day he came home and he was like, Maximus, and like picked him up, and Maximus freaked out. He was like, oh, who's this strange man? Like, he literally didn't recognize Marco. And that for him, like, broke his heart. He was like, oh my God, like, I've pretty much become that not present parent that I swore I wouldn't be, but that's what's happened. And because of my situation, my circumstances have created this. So, you know, how can I change it? Well, very simple, Herbalife. Herbalife, by the way, guys, anytime you go through anything in your life, the downs, like the hits, whatever it is, Herbalife is always the answer, because that's the only thing you can control is your Herbalife business, your frontline production. That is always the answer. Like, if I ever have something happen, I pour myself back into who can I help? Who do you know? Like, and that, because that's all I can control. And I can tell you what, within like a couple of days, everything turns around and you're feeling good again. And whatever that problem was, it's insignificant, because there's a bigger thing, you know, there's a bigger purpose than just you or just that problem, you know. So that's another little tip there. But qualify for everything. So we qualified for the party in the first month with the early bird thing, and we're about, I don't know, a couple of thousand points off the seating. So qualify for everything, because it's just, and you have so much fun. Like, I just can't even tell you how much fun. Like, I'm sure Kara's told you, like, it's just so much fun. Like, you get to hang out with people that are just buzzing, and like you get so much free stuff. Like sometimes I have to give myself a checkup from the neck up because like I almost expect things all the time because Herbalife just spoils you, you know? Like I've never worked in a company where you just get all these extra things and just for doing your job. Like I've always done my job, but I've never been treated or appreciated or received this kind of recognition before. So, you know, if you're a person that responds well to obviously praise and recognition and, you know, feeling the love, then you've just got to start putting yourself in the position to receive that extra recognition. And that's by qualifying, you know, because it's just the best. But you can go to the next slide if you like. What did I put on there? Oh yeah, so holidays. So we've been on 3 Herbalife holidays now. We went to New Caledonia, Bali, and Hamilton Island, just been. So these are photos from Hamilton Island. So that's there on the first day at the bottom, having a cheeky cocktail by the pool. You know, because we're lifestyle people, you're allowed to do that. You don't have to be an angel, but, you know, obviously everything in balance and moderation. But, and then at the top there, actually, Thorsey was with us and Vicky. We did a sea kayaking trip, and I don't know what we were expecting, but I think we thought we were going to go out on a boat and then we were going to hop in canoes and just like canoe around the boat. Like, I don't know what our idea of this was, but Carrie did it as well. I couldn't believe it, being that you're pregnant. I was like, go girl. She smashed it as well. But that was like, I had so many breakthroughs on this kayak trip, you know, because I was in a kayak with Marco, and so it was really about teamwork and our relationship. You know, it wasn't about the kayaking, you know, and it was just funny because obviously Joanna and Daniel were in a kayak and they were going off at each other the whole time and everyone's just laughing. And yeah, it was a really good experience. And again though, like if you're not qualifying for things and if you're not there, like you just don't know what you just don't know what you're going to miss out on or what is going to impact you, kind of thing. Top left there is Christy and Rob Walsh's organisation that qualified for the holiday. So quite a few of us there. And obviously the Morgans and, you know, Michelle and Ryan as well from Joanna's team. And then on the bottom right there, that's all the qualifiers at the farewell party. So that was just such a good night. And the best thing about Herbalife holidays, guys, is that there's no cap. Like what I mean when I say that is that it's not like they say the first 100 people to qualify get to go. It's like whoever qualifies, you know, so there's a cap. Like there's not a cap. Like anyone can be there. You just have to make the decision. You honestly have to make the decision, you know, and I'm quite a proud person. So I tell people that I'm going before I've even qualified. You know, because then I'm like, God forbid I don't actually go. I'd be dying if like that person be like, hold on, aren't you meant to be in Bali like right about now? You know, so like just affirm it to the world. Like, you know, obviously the next one's in Bali. If you haven't been to Bali before, look up Bali and put pictures of Bali all over your house. Seriously, on your phone. Like you just need to be consumed with Bali because it's like Bali, Bali, Bali. Like, but if you don't make that decision, then of course it's not going to happen, you know. So we still have 6 months to qualify or 7 months, I don't even know, but just like get it done. If you're not yet a supervisor, finish off your supervisor and start going for it. You know, I know people that have qualified for the vacation in 4 or 5 months, you know, so like anyone can do it. And it probably now is a good time to make that decision because we're almost halfway into the qualification. So realistically, you do have the chance to actually do it. But you know, I will never miss a Herbalife vacation because they're the best. And obviously now with having a family, that's like our family holiday because Joanna and Daniel are always there. And to be honest, we didn't bring Maximus this time to Hamilton Island because we wanted like an adult holiday. And FYI, it was like the best decision ever. We had the best time. But there were times where, of course, I was like, oh, I wish I had my little chunky here with me. But he was having fun back home with my dad anyway. But you know, as of next year, I'll bring him back and we can do the whole family thing again. But, you just have to be there. Like, it's just incredible. You can go to the next one if you like. Oh, yeah, cool. So I'm going to talk a little bit about time management now and, you know, whether it's working around a job or if you have kids and a family, and that sort of thing, and you're the main carer, I guess, for your kids, then I'm going to talk, because obviously that's all I can share because that's what I know. But I'm going to talk a little bit about time management now. So I'd like you to think, what time of the day do I peak? Because everyone peaks at a different time. You know, like some people say, oh, I'm not a morning person, or I'm a real night owl. You know, everyone is different. Like for me, I know that I peak probably about now, because generally I exercise in the morning, and because I've released all those endorphins and I've had my rebuild, I usually feel really good at around 10, 11 o'clock. So I know for me, I peak mid-morning. So just have a think and maybe write down on your notes, what time of the day do I peak? Because my next question to you is, what are you doing during that time? Are you working in a job that you can't stand? Are you surrounded with people that you don't particularly like? You know, are you asleep because you've got no money or energy to go do something else? You know, like if you're a night person, then are you generally at home, like just sitting on the couch because your situation doesn't allow you to do anything else? Or, you know, are you doing Herbalife during that time? You know, so if you have the luxury of doing Herbalife full time, then in that time when you're peaking, are you actually doing Herbalife? You know, like as in, I mean, talking to people and being out and about and, you know, being the brand, like, you know, if that makes sense. So just have a little reflection on that, because, you know, there was a time where I realized that sitting at home Facebooking wasn't really going to bring me the people that I wanted to really work with. And sometimes you've got to get uncomfortable. And so I could quite easily establish that I peak at this time. So I put myself in other communities that are already established, if that makes sense. So, you know, the gym is a community. It's already running. Like someone else has already got the gym going. You know, people go there regularly. It's a community. It's a family. So rather than me trying to recreate that by myself, I've just put myself into the gym, and then I always make sure that I have Herbalife with me. It's like I have my own shake party every day at the gym, because I walk in eating a protein bar, I bomb a lift off, and then I have my rebuild strength ready to go, so that the second I stop exercising, I literally start drinking my rebuild. I've usually got something Herbalife on me, you know, like a top, or I've always got my wristbands. I've got my badge on my backpack. My backpack is also Herbalife. And because I feel so good, like for me, conversation flows quite easily when I'm at the gym with people, because I'm just being myself, you know, like I feel so good that I can just, that I create that flow for myself. So, you know, and then after that, usually we go to the, you know, to the shops and do something, and I just use We're Talk in the shops, or we go catch up with a friend for like a play date, that sort of thing. You know, whatever it is that you're doing, like find a way to bring Herbalife into it. You know, for me, I think I'm going to go to the shops anyway, so I'm going to try have as many Herbalife conversations as possible. And some days I won't have a Herbalife conversation as such, but I will contribute in a positive way to the environment. You know, so that's what we do as Herbalife distributors. Like we are the brand. And sometimes if it just means putting a smile on someone's face or genuinely asking how someone's going, then that was what you were meant to do for that day. You know, like you didn't have to like attack them with Herbalife, but maybe that person just needed a bit of hope and to know that their day, they were going to get through the day, and maybe that was your purpose for entering that store, or, you know, being next to that person at the checkout, or whatever it is, you know. So for me, like, I just love, like, I pretty much am the Herbalife person in my area. So another little question, do people know you as the Herbalife person in your hood? Like, are you the Herbalife chick? Are you the Herbalife guy? You know, when they see you coming, they'll be like, there's that Herbalife guy. You know, like, are you that person? Have you created that association for yourself? You know, and same thing with, I guess, your Facebook and your social media profiles. Like, do people know you as Herbalife? You know, if I were to look at your profile right now and do a couple of flicks, you know, like scroll down a little bit, am I going to see Herbalife? because that's really important, because people will look at your profile and be like, oh, I don't know if she's still doing it anymore. Like, she hasn't posted anything about it lately. And don't worry, like, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Whatever you post, people either pick it up or they won't. Don't worry about if it's coming on too strong, or don't worry about annoying people. Like, people are annoyed no matter what you do. So just be yourself and be Herbalife during those times of the day where you peak, So for me, like, obviously, when I went Get Team, I was limited with my time anyway because I was working 2 jobs. And now I have a little human who dictates my day pretty much, and that continues to change. Just when I think I figured him out, he decides to change all over again, and doesn't sleep or sleeps more, or, you just don't know with kids, like, what you're going to get. But I found as a mum, like, I was sometimes feeling guilty that I was trying to work and then he wanted my attention, and then I'm trying to keep the house clean and, that kind of thing. And then I was just feeling really frustrated because I wasn't doing anything well. I'm one of those people that I'm an all or nothing kind of person. So if I do something, I want to do it well. And I was getting really frustrated because I felt like I wasn't doing anything justice, and so I had to kind of look at myself, look at Maximus, look at my workload and say, okay, like, when he's asleep, like now on the floor behind me, that's when I work. That's when I do my Herbalife stuff, whatever that might be, and when he's awake, I am fully like mum. Obviously my phone's always nearby, but if I see a message or whatever and it's not imperative, as in like, emergency help, then I don't respond, because generally the person will figure it out anyway because I haven't responded. And they need the answer like 5 minutes ago. So they go search for the answer themselves. Or, if it's a customer and stuff, then, like, I've made it quite clear to my customers, my team, that, hey, I am a mum and I will respond to you at my soonest convenience, and, people will say, like, I know you're probably busy with Maximus, like, when you get the chance, and they don't get annoyed with me if I don't respond straight away. Because at the end of the day, you're not a slave. You're not a servant to any of your customers or your team. Everyone's independent, and that's what you want as well. You want to create independent customers, and that way when you get back to them, you get back to them. So now pretty much I work like maybe 2 hours during the middle of the day, because he sleeps for about 2 hours at the moment, and then as soon as he goes to sleep, I hit it. But for me, like, don't fake yourself out, guys. So if you say that you're going to do 2 hours of Herbalife work every night, it doesn't mean scrolling on Facebook for 45 minutes and then maybe a little bit of Herbalife and then looking on Snapchat and then watch a movie and Netflix. Like, you do the 2 hours of solid work. Like, don't fake yourself out, because the universe sees everything, okay? And the universe rewards those who give it 100%. So don't pretend, because you're only kidding yourself, and then you're going to be disappointed and all that. So if you can say, look, I've only got half an hour, but you do that half an hour and you do it well. Yeah. And in terms of my DMOs, I guess you can say, like, now we run a lifestyle center with Kim and Mariani Broma, me and Marco. So we are there Monday nights, Thursday nights, and then we take turns with Saturday mornings, because we don't have the babysitting every weekend. So we take turns, which is great. And so now, again, as a time management thing, I get all my customers, if they need products, they meet me there, and they have to sit through the HOM, and then they get their products at the end, because that's expose, involve, upgrade, right? And then same thing with team. If they have questions, they have to meet me there and sit through it. And then at the end, if they still need me to join up the dots, then I will. And then we have like a supervisor academy on the Thursday nights. So again, I enroll as many of my team as I can into the supervisor academy, because then they're going to be trained by someone else, and versus me trying to mentor, 30 people one-on-one, then I just get the 30 people in one room. We're all there together. We're all growing together. No one's getting left behind. And again, time management for me. Like, I've already made the commitment of time that I'm going to be at the center. So while I'm there, I try to condense as much as I can, and so with our system, there's something there for everyone. If it's a customer or a prospect or, like a business builder, whatever, everyone can come and get something out of it, So that's been really key for me, I guess, and for Marco, because we will start trying for baby number 2 soon. So, I was, projecting like when I'm pregnant and if I'm getting, a little bit slower and a little bit tired and then have a newborn, like I can't keep doing what I'm doing and servicing everyone and giving the answer to everyone as soon as they ask, because I'm going to be overwhelmed and like, it's just going to be too much. So we've created this system, I guess, that allows everyone to get their answers for themselves. Well, and at the end of the day, people come to see you as well. So many of my team are like, let's catch up. I'm like, I'd love to, but I actually just don't have time. So this way we're all together and everyone's happy that way. Like they get to see you, they learn, they grow, they can bring their customers and their team and whatever into an environment that is positive and empowering for everyone. And, it just then allows me to do whatever I like in my day, obviously with Maximus or with my family, with my friends, because we do Herbalife for a lifestyle. Like I didn't come to Herbalife to have another boss or to work 9 to 5. Like I came to Herbalife to work smart and to work hard. And that for me is, find whatever that is for you. So if you love fit clubs, amazing. Maximize your fit club to get the best results possible. Like if you love to do parties, awesome. Again, how can you maximize that 2-hour party? So that you can cover all bases and that way it's done, and then of course inviting to the major events. Like, my mentors always taught me that it was 2 events a week, 2 events a month, and 2 events a year. So 2 events a week being an online or live, HOM academy, that sort of thing. 500 Club, so tick, you've done that for the day or for the week. And then 2 events per month being the kickoff and STS, and then 2 events per year being the spectacular, and then of course the extravaganza if you're a supervisor. So that for me is my, I guess, philosophy with, my show up structure. Like I'm always prepared to show up twice a week, twice a month, twice a year. And again, like if you're a parent, sometimes it's not that easy because you have to juggle the kids and babysitting and, so you just do the best that you can. Like sometimes Marco and I would love to go to things together, like extravaganza or something, but sometimes only one of us can go. So one of us can be at home holding the fort and the other one will go and be with the team and learn and grow. So you just do whatever the best you can in any given situation. Don't beat yourself up, but just do the best that you can. And consistency is key. So if you're doing fit clubs, if you're doing parties, if you're doing, if you're using the HOMS as like a DMO, then just make sure that you're always there. You're never not there, and I had to say this to someone the other day in my team because they didn't show up to the kickoff. And I said, I just said to her, hey, like, is everything okay? Like, I noticed you weren't at the kickoff today. Hope you're okay. And her response was she didn't come because she didn't have a guest. And to me, that's like the worst kind of mindset, because this is a business of contribution. We all need each other. And, I had to give her, I said to her, I asked for permission. I said, can I give you some, this mentoring might come off a little bit strong. Like, is that okay? She said, yeah, like, that's fine. I want you to be honest. And I said, okay, like, sometimes you might not need the meeting, but the meeting will always need you. It'll always need your story and your energy and your smile and your presence, so it doesn't matter if you didn't have a guest, because I've been to many things without a guest or without team, and it doesn't matter because you still show up, you still share your story, and you still add value to the space and to the event in any way that you can, and she took it well. She was like, okay, yeah, like I get it. Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'll make sure that I, check my attitude the next time, and I just said to her, like, if you're going through that, like, talk to me and let me know so that I can encourage you and remind you why you're doing this, why you're showing up to the meetings, so, but that consistency, whether you've got people in the room or not, it's because you've made that decision that that's your show up structure and you're always going to be there, and if you're a really busy person, then that's cool. Just pick like what you're going to attend, so if it's the STS and the spectacular, then you make sure that you're the first to buy your ticket and the first to start promoting it. Start telling everyone on the team groups or, however it is that you communicate with each other, like, I've got my ticket, like, who else is coming, because you're fired up that you got your ticket, but you lead from the front. And if that's all you can commit to, that's fantastic. But just make sure you're consistent in your decisions with your show up as well. Working around family. So everyone always just says like, oh, but you've got Marco, it's fine. But at first Marco wasn't really doing the business. Like, he was happy that I had my own income and that he didn't have to support me, I guess. Like, he was happy that I was very self-sufficient and was adding to our household and that sort of thing. But he wasn't really interested in doing the business or coming to events or anything like that. And sometimes we'd be sitting on the couch at night and I'd be doing follow-up, because that's when you sometimes do follow-up because people are not at work. And I remember he was like, oh, like, get off your phone. You're always on your phone. Like, who are you texting? I used to get a bit of that from him. So when you're working around your family, if they're not doing this with you, then please, please, please make sure they understand what your mission is. What I mean when I say that is, please make sure that they understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, and enroll them in that vision and that mission, because you want to create a better life for your family and for your future family and for, your extended family and for your friends and for your community. Like, you have to tell them these things because they probably don't really understand if they're not in it. And I think that will release a lot of tension or not blocks, but I feel like when your energy is blocked or when your confidence gets blocked, then it blocks a lot of other things, if that makes sense. So, I feel like if your family is behind you, even if they don't understand fully, but if they understand that they need to just support you and be behind you, then you will feel so free and like this weight's lifted off your shoulders and you can just charge forward, So enroll your family. Like my dad helps us with the babysitting when he's in Australia. He lives between Australia and Brazil. And I asked him a couple of months ago, like, Dad, what are you doing with retirement? Because they're just kind of like floating around, him and his partner. I said, Dad, like, do you want to sell your house? Because, Marco and I just bought our third property. So we move in the weekend before Spectacular, actually. And we bought this property with the intention of obviously adding more kids to our family and also to have the room and the ability to have my dad live with us when he's in Australia. So it's not about the money, but it's what you can do with the money. Like, I want to be able to give back to my dad because he is my only family member that has always supported me and always helps with Maximus when he's here and when he can, even if he's not fully able and well, like he'll still do his best. And so now I want to give back to him. And when I said to him, look, we've bought this house and, we're going to be able to give you a room. So if you want to live like with us when you're in Australia and you can sell your house and use that for your retirement, then you can. And, he was just so overwhelmed. He was like, oh my goodness, like what 30-year-old thinks like that? And I look at my friends who aren't doing personal development and whatever, and generally they're, just worried about getting to the end of the week or the end of the month, So what Herbalife can do for you is literally, it won't be overnight, guys. Like, great things take time. Rome wasn't built in a day. You've got to remind yourself of these things, but it can literally allow you to have the dream and the lifestyle that you truly want. Like my vision is to have a house full of kids, my dad sitting outside having his coffee and probably having his cigarette still, even though I try to get him to stop. But, like sitting out in the pool, chilled out. And then like everyone always, I'm a kitchen person, I'm a food person. So everyone always around the kitchen's like the heart of the house. That's my vision. And like within 3 years or almost 4 years, I guess, of doing Herbalife, I've actually been able to create that for myself. And sometimes you have to look back to see all the amazing things you've accomplished to keep moving forward, so that's the only time to look back is to be like, whoa, like I'm a supervisor now, like I did that, or I just got to the active well team, like just be grateful for wherever you're at and just know that you have the right vehicle to create whatever you want if you set your mind to it, so I'm just so grateful that like, I just can't wait to move into this house as well, just quietly, but I'm just so happy that I can work this around my family really get my dad enrolled. And that's kind of like his, it's not a condition, but I said to him, obviously I expect a bit of babysitting, like whenever I need it, if you're to live with us when you're home, you know, and he's cool with that. But I said to him, and, you know, sometimes he doesn't understand when I'm working so hard. He's like, oh, when aren't you working? I'm like, Dad, like, I have to remind him. I'm like, we just bought another house. Like, that is why. You know, no one else is going to do it for me. Like, can you please help me with Maximus tomorrow? He's like, okay. You know, sometimes you need to remind people and just say, hey, come on, like, it's not like I'm going out and partying, you know, or going shopping or going to the movies. Like, I need your help so that I can keep building this empire and this life, you know. And usually they're like, okay, you do your thing, you know. But I hope everyone on this call has bought their ticket for the Spectacular, because I really, truly feel this one is going to be a game changer, you know, with John Tartle. I just can't wait, because I've only heard from John Tartle once, and that was in Long Beach, this past extravaganza. He did a big section at the Future Millionaire Team Experience. So he was incredible. I just can't wait to have him for the whole weekend. And, you know, obviously buy your ticket, but really in the next couple of weeks, expand that to who can I take with me? That's when the magic happens. You know, it's magical when you're in the room, but it's even more fun and magical when you have people with you. Because when someone creates a vision for themselves, they are unstoppable. Like my first Spectacular, I went as a supervisor. I had 2 customers. I didn't have any members. And I just went because Joanna told me there was a party and free alcohol. And I was like, all right, I'm there. This is not when I was pregnant, by the way. And yeah, so I went and I sat by myself at the back, and I didn't know anyone. And I thought everyone was a bit weird because they were wearing badges and they were dancing on the chairs. And I was like, what? It's like 8:30 in the morning. These people are like raving on their chairs. Like, what is going on? You know, I just thought it was weird because I'd never been in that. I'd never been to an STS, nothing. But by the end of the weekend, you know, Joanna says this. She goes, oh, sometimes like I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, if I was Soph, what would I be thinking right now? Like, was that too much? Or was that, you know, too heavy, whatever. But again, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And like by the end of the weekend, I was like, so I need team, and I need to get to world team, and I need to start doing 10K, like personal volume. And she was like, oh my God, she got it. Like, and she says like, that was like the best thing to watch me transform over 2 days and just create my own vision. Like she couldn't have stopped me if she tried, you know, like I was going to do this thing with or without her. You know, so you don't need to have an amazing sponsor. You don't need to have an amazing team. If the team you have at the moment, nothing's really happening, that's cool, because from the vision and the inspiration and the stories and the actual skills you're going to learn at the Spectacular, you can do whatever you want, you know. So I know that I need to find new frontline and different people to work with. And that's cool, because after that weekend, I'm going to have the tools that I need to do that, you know, to build it right with new people, if that makes sense, you know. So there's just so many reasons why you have to go, but you have to go. Like I don't know anyone who's tab team and above that doesn't go to Spectacular. You know, it's our signature event, and I love that you get to see all the Aussies, you know, like everyone, and all the Kiwis, like everyone from around, because it's just, even though there's like a couple of thousand people in there, it's just so intimate. Like it just feels like there's a couple of you there. So if you haven't experienced a Spectacular before, I'm very excited for you, because you're going to be so mind blown, and it's just the best, you know. But yeah, events, honestly guys, we are an events based company because we have so much freedom to do whatever we want, that the events are kind of what bring us back in, you know, around the campfire, creating that, I guess, that unity and staying relevant in what we do, which is multi-level marketing in a health and nutrition industry. You know, that's why the events are so important, because it keeps you relevant in the nature of our business. So I can't wait. I can't believe it's only like a month away, but I'm super pumped. And yeah, thank you for having me. I feel like I've just been like, like talking so quickly, but I hope that kind of covered everything. And if anyone has any questions, I don't know, like, what do you do from here?
Oh, Sophie, I feel like we could just keep listening to you actually. So that was amazing. Thank you so much. I know everybody who will be like who's listening live, like our chat was going off before about the excitement, and I know that, you know, everybody listening to the recording is going to get so much out of that. That wasn't just like content and information, that was value. Like, you've given people value in the last, you know, 40 odd minutes, so we really appreciate that. Guys, since Sophie just totally offered any Q&As, would love that. So if anybody's got any questions, let's just take a little bit of time. I know people tend to be a little bit shy at this point and not ask any questions, but I'm just going to have a look at the chat bit. Put your hands up, guys, if you'd like to ask any questions.
Charlie said I did kayak so much.
I thought I was doing an awesome job at kayaking, and he said, I don't think you did.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, yeah, seriously, guys, just have fun. Hey, like, I don't know, like, I just think whatever you do, make sure you're having fun, because that's when you're going to attract other fun people that are just like you. Like, I don't want to work with like boring, unhappy people, you know, like I want, like, if you're having fun, you're going to attract some really incredible people into your life. So, you know, everyone always says like, wow, you're so bubbly. I'm like, yeah, because I want other bubbly people around me, you know, but thank you for all the feedback. I can see all your little comments.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Actually, we've got a question from Lorraine, so let's come on in.
Hey, Sophie, amazing call.
Oh, thank you.
I was wondering, so, and for the guys that are on the call as well, so after you've done your walk-in talk, like on days, would you, or even just spoken to someone about Herbalife, and then from there, would you send your details, or do you get their details, add them on Facey, and then go from there, or what would your structure?
Yeah, so, you know, depending on what they respond to, whether it's my button or I carry my big 2-litre bottle of tea everywhere. Sometimes I get people, they look at my, you know, the Herbalife wristbands, and they're like, I can see them trying to read around my arm, and I'm like, oh, and my go-to sentence, because I still freak out when people actually want to know, I just go to like, oh, have you heard of Herbalife? And then just obviously to cover ethics first, because if they have heard about Herbalife, that's amazing. I want to refer them back, but I kind of don't want to waste my time in like sending them an email and, you know, asking what flavors they want, whatever, and then to realize at that point that I actually have to refer them back, if that makes sense. So straight away, I ask them if they've heard about Herbalife, and if they have, I, you know, put my detective hat on, I start asking them questions to make sure that I can actually take their details or not, sort of thing. I like to add people on Facebook just so that they can see that I'm like a normal, fun person. And as well then, so that I can see, I guess, what kind of person they are. And generally most people have Facebook. But then I say to them, I'm going to add you to our lifestyle page where you can see, you know, get a really good idea of what Herbalife is and see all the results and that sort of thing. And that essentially is our client group. Because I want them to see other results and realize that there's other people on Herbalife besides me, especially when people have never heard of Herbalife. You know, they're like, what's Herbalife? So that way you plug them into that and they're like, oh, wow, there's like, you know, 1,500 people on here. Look at all the results. The shakes look delish, like whatever. And then that way I can contact them through Messenger or whatever. But, you know, obviously I always give them I have like either a flyer or a business card in my backpack. So I just give them that. But then I always make sure that I take down their phone number and or their email. And then I kind of just leave it at that. And usually I've got Maximus with me, so I can't really stay and chat with them for too long. So I kind of just say, look, I've actually got to run, but what time are you free later? And I'll chat with you then. And they usually say, oh, maybe like 8 o'clock once the kids are in bed or whatever. And I'm like, okay, then I'll talk to you later. And then I just put a little note in my phone to contact them. And usually by the time you've done that, because you've added them to the client group and they've had all day to look at it, they're pretty much, by the time you're like, hey, how are you? They're like, oh my God, like give it to me. I'm ready, you know, because the group has done the work for you pretty much. So that's kind of what I do. And I mean, if people don't have Facebook or, you know, if they're not really willing to meet me halfway and give me their details and stuff, then I kind of don't want to work with someone like that anyway, who's so like resistant. So I kind of just say to them, look, if you want to come to Leaderville tomorrow night, 7 p.m., here's my details, just give me a call. and you can meet some of the people that I'm working with. And obviously then I get them to come to the HOM at the centre. And that's, yeah, again, I just always tell myself you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So if someone resists, like giving their details or meeting you halfway, then I don't chase people. I'm just like, okay, that's cool. Like, no problem. You know, like, bye-bye. Like,
yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for answering that. Super clarifying. Perfect. Thank you.
That's okay. Easy.
Awesome. Sophie, I think everybody is either too shy or actually probably the other end. They've just gotten so much info today. So all the answers, all the questions have been answered. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I know how busy and epic you are and everything that you've got going on. So we really appreciate you taking out the time. Guys, if you're friends with Sophie on Facebook, please make sure you post some, recognition and thank her publicly. Before we end the call, guys, I just want to promote very quickly our next month's speaker. So I think we've spoken about this on our Monday night webinar, but guys, I'm so excited. And actually Sophie works with I just had a mind blank.
Janelle.
Oh my gosh, I was calling her Pokey in my head, and I was like, I can't say this out loud. Baby brain coming through. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about Janelle, and I know that you work with Janelle in Perth or at the STSs. So we're really excited about that.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Thank you again so much, Sophie. You're amazing. Cannot wait to see you at the Spectacular. It's going to be absolutely off the chain with John Tartle, closest thing to Mark Hughes. Like, seriously, going to be outstanding. Thanks, everybody. Have an awesome day. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.